Okay, we're gonna go with a tried and true classic here of removing some dust and scratches and talk about baby acne. And mostly, I want to show you my favorite technique. I learned this in 2007, 2008. I still use it to this day, even with all of new Photoshop tools, and that is the dust and scratches action. So whenever I start a new image, I always duplicate my background. Command J will duplicate it and give you a nice fresh layer to work on. You can double click and name it if you want to, or you can just leave it layer one. That's fine too. I'm going to name it retouched, and then I'm going to zoom in. I always zoom in to at least 100%, if not even further, and kind of look and see what needs to be done. In this case, this baby has some bigger acne spots and then a ton of little white flakies. So I am going to use dust and scratches to get rid of those. So let's go to filter and then noise, dust and scratches. And so what you can do here is pull these down all the way and then pull the radius up until those little white flakes start to go away. So we're going to go up somewhere around like 6, 7, 8 is usually about the right number, depending on how big the flakes are. And then you're going to bring your threshold back up until they come back. See how all that detail is coming back? Now we're kind of starting to get some of those white flakes back. So I'm going to go back down and try and find a happy spot where the white is gone, and we still have texture. So somewhere around there is about where I like it. I'm going to hit OK. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to noise and then add noise. I like to add just a teeny bit of noise to add some more texture in there whenever I'm removing things. So 1 to 2% is about right. Gaussian, monochromatic, hit OK. And now it looks great, right? Just kidding. Obviously, we're not going to leave it like this. We are going to use our history brush. The other way that you could do this is by adding a layer mask, but I really like the history brush, so I'm going to show you how to use it that way. So we're going to go to history. In your history panel, it shows you all the most recent steps that you've taken. And this little checkbox on the side is how you use your history brush. So what we want to do is we want it to reference this state that we just made, but we want to go back 2 steps to before we made it. So we're going to go back to where we changed the name, and that history brush, it looks like nothing's happened, right? If we go back 2 steps, it's as if it didn't, except now we have this little check mark next to add noise. So when we go to our history brush, which is you can get to by hitting the key Y, or over here it's like this little brush tool with the arrow going around it. So it restores parts of an image to an early state. That's what we want. So we are going to now have our history brush. I like to set it to the mode to darken and then just paint out all those little white flakes. So it's referencing that state that we just made it without affecting the entire image. So now I can go in and paint out all the little flakies and get them out of my way. If you wanted to do her little Milia on her nose, you can. You also, if you don't want to take them out all the way, but you want to just kind of reduce them, you can change your opacity. You can hit the number key 5 to go to 50%, or you can come up here and just drop it down. I like 50 is usually pretty good. I don't want to take them out all the way, especially like not on top of her nose here. So if that's too far, we can come back and let's actually go to like 20% instead and just take them out on this side and maybe just a little bit more. Now, I want to show you something. So most of them, it took out really nicely. A little bit here on her cheek where she had a bigger blemish, and here under her nose, you can see a little bit of artifacting, and I don't want that. So what I like to do is go in with my history brush and take out all the ones that I want to take out. And if there's a little bit of artifacting, then I will come in with my remove tool and get rid of that little bit that's still showing. So I'm just going to use my remove tool and take out that little spot, and then do the same thing over here. And maybe take out this little highlight on her nose. Okay, so Obviously, we could keep retouching here, but that is how I would go about getting those little teeny white flakes out of the way. All right, moving on. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you can use your remove tool, or you also can use your patch tool or your healing brush, whatever method of taking things out you prefer. I like the patch tool. It's a little bit faster than the remove tool. So I might come in and just take those bigger ones out really quick with my patch tool and get those out of the way. And then any other little things, you can still reference that healing history brush. So if you do have any like little flaky things or anything on the background or on clothing or on wraps, you can always come in and use that down there as well.